I got very pissed off. Sued the studio. Not a good idea. Cher is very opportunistic, and she knows that I have a reputation for being very good with actors. So she didn't want to give away an iota of credit. You know what I mean? She did it all. So, let me tell you, I had to shoot more close-ups of her in the picture than any picture I've ever done, because she works very well in close-ups, because she has very sad eyes. When you get to know her, you find out it's just self-pity. But since most people don't know her well, it just comes across as the sadness of the world. She couldn't sustain a scene. You talked about sustaining scenes. She couldn't sustain a scene for more than 2 or 3 lines. You're supposed to go over here, and she'd go here, and then she'd go, where the fuck did you go?
Gotta ask about the casting of Cher, because I know that when you were a journalist, you had written an article about her and Sonny that she did not...
You did some research.
Yes, and she did not respond to that article favorably.
No, she was 18 and I called her a sexy broad, and she didn't like that. She was.
If you didn't hear that in the back, the question was, how did working with Barbra Streisand compare with working with Cher?
Night and day. Barbara was wonderful. She didn't even like the script. But she was fun to work with, she didn't give me a hard time. I really enjoyed it. We had a really good time on the picture. And it wasn't her kind of humor, and it turned out to be the second biggest grossing film of her career, which irritates her. Keith's speech at the end when he talks about pieces of time, that really comes from something that Jimmy Stewart said to me. And I'm going to tell you how he said it, because it's a good finish. We were sitting in his living room, and I was talking to him about movies, and what it was about movies that was so special, and why they were special. And he said, well, I was in Colorado shooting a Western. We broke for lunch, and this old fella comes over to me, and he says, you Stewart? I said, yeah. You said a poem in a picture once. That was good. Oh, thank you. And that's all he said. And he walked away. And I knew just exactly what he meant, but it was a picture we'd made 20 years before. And he'd remembered it all those years. It was just a minute in a bar. I said a poem. And he'd remembered it all these years. And I thought, now that's the wonderful thing about the movies. Because if you're good, and God helps you, and you're lucky enough to have a personality that comes across, and what you're doing is you're giving people little tiny pieces of time that they never forget. So that's the best definition I ever heard of movies, and that's why we stole it from Brian Keith. Thank you, Jimmy.
That's a great speech.
It's like Ford said there was too much music in The Searchers. He complained because he said there was too much music in The Searchers. I mean, you got a guy alone in the desert, and there's the London Philharmonic behind him. I sometimes feel like that, so I couldn't